Good morning and welcome to another edition of our Community Affairs Show here at Radio 1 DC Stations. I'm your host, your News and Community Affairs Director, Ebony McMorris. And we're here to talk about a talent hunt competition coming to the DMV area, brought to you by the Brothers of Omega Psi-Phi, the DC chapter of Omega Psi-Phi. And here to talk about that is Vernon Lee. How are you this morning?
I'm fine. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on the show. Now, I absolutely love, when organizations help to stir and spawn talent in this area. Tell us about this talent hunt competition.
Absolutely. So the fraternity has several internationally mandated programs. Our talent hunt program is one of them. It actually first started in North Carolina back in 1946 as a way to really provide an opportunity for youth to express themselves in music, dance, speech, and in a number of different categories. We actually in the DC chapter started in the late 50s having this talent hunt program, and the categories that I mentioned before are interpretive music, interpretive dance, speech, and vocal. And so we're pretty excited to typically have anywhere from 10 to 15 DC high school students come out and participate and showcase some of their talents.
So first, where can people go to get information about this event?
Yes, please go to alphaomegachapter.org to get information about the auditions that are upcoming as well as the competition itself.
Now, is there a prize for the winner?
It is a prize.
Okay.
We actually give out over $3,000 in prizes. The first place winner in those four categories get $500 each. The second place prize winners get $250, and then we give a small honorarium for everyone who competed, and that's normally the $50 range.
Very nice. So either way, you walk away with something.
Yes, we want to make sure everybody walks away with a little something in their pockets for their efforts for coming out and displaying their talents.
Now, you have some serious people to try out for this. This isn't just, throw something up and try to compete. They're serious about this.
Yes, and I'm glad you mentioned that because these kids practice and rehearse for hours and days and years in many cases. I mean, these are accomplished pianists. Some of the vocalists are operatic singers and performers. They guest star at the Kennedy Center and various programs in and around D.C. and up and down the East Coast. So, yeah, we don't want you to just show up. I mean, we want to reach out to some of our area youth, but you can't just show up the day of and think you're going to be able to display your talent and be selected for this competition, much less have an opportunity to win.
So don't sleep on it, everybody. In the category of speech, what is it that people will be doing?
So typically, the trend has changed a little bit over the last couple of years. There tends to be a balance between both spoken word and original speech or excerpt of a speech that's taken. I think last year our speech category winner did an excerpt of Malcolm X's speech, which was incredible. I mean, he was everything about Malcolm and the way he displayed that. The year before, we've had a contestant win in the spoken word category. So it really comes down to whatever the competition is that particular year.
Now, the first audition date was March the 7th. For those who've missed that date, is there anything else that they can do to get into this competition?
If they're just hearing about the auditions and it's after the audition date, please get in contact with us, and then we'll try and make some arrangements in terms of maybe a video audition or something they could submit at that point.
So for those who missed the March 7th deadline, listen up. There is an opportunity for you still to be in this competition. Go to the website for more information.
Yes, alphaomegachapter.org.
Okay. And the actual event is on March the 21st?
March 21st at 3 p.m. at the same place. The CAP School has a wonderful auditorium, great sound system, very nice facility. I think any of the participants and those that come out to support will have a really good time.
And give us that location and address again.
It's the Community Academy Public Charter School. It's 1400 First Street, right next to Dunbar High School. For those
Go
that
Dunbar.
that know the area, it's right next to Dunbar. Again, there'll be plenty of parking. 3 p.m. We'll start right on time. And we are lucky and fortunate to have April Watts hosting this year.
Absolutely. Our very own April Watts from Magic 102.3. She's wonderful and does so much in the community. So it's good that she's teamed up with you guys to help make this happen.
Yeah, we're excited, and we appreciate the support that you guys are providing us as well and getting the word out to any and everyone who wants to come out. And you don't have to be a member of Omega Psi Phi fraternity to come out and participate. We want any and everyone who wants to hear some really talented youth perform. Normally the program is about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And we'll have a couple of guest performances as well in addition to some of the youth. So any and everyone could come out and have a good time. And it's free, by the way.
It is a free event. I love it. I love it. In times past, how many people have come out to the event?
It depends. We don't normally have a couple of hundred. We actually used to host this at Andrew Rankin Chapel at Howard University. Mm-hmm. It started getting a little bit bigger. We needed more space. We needed more accommodations in terms of the facility. So we moved it over to CAPS. We've been there for actually about 4 or 5 years now.
Wow. Well, this talent hunt competition has a long history, so beware. Bring out your talents. Bring out your creativity. It's going to be a good thing. Why is the chapter so committed to having outlets like this for the community? Why is it important?
Yeah, so, it's interesting that, Omega men and Qs sometimes have a reputation for having a good time, and we stand up to that reputation. But there's also balance, and so we do quite a bit in terms of mentoring, which is a significant part of our outreach, both at the graduate level and undergraduate level. So we do a lot of mentoring. We do, homeless projects. And so really across the spectrum in terms of reaching out, voting rights, voting sign-up and registration. But for Talent Hunt was one that we had recognized as, again, for decades now, going back that some area youth just didn't have the outlet at times to be able to demonstrate some of their skills. And so this is a program that we adopted at the international level. And in addition to the DC chapters that combined to put this on, you'll hear, and some people in the community may hear, about different dates and different talent hunt programs, but chapters in Northern Virginia are doing it in Alexandria, Fairfax County, Loudoun County, Prince William County, Montgomery County, Prince George's County are all having talent hunt programs. For ours, the DC chapters being Alpha Omega chapter, Kappa Psi chapter, the graduate chapter, the 3 undergraduate chapters, Alpha chapter being Howard University, Delta Theta, George Washington University, and
you are going down that history, aren't
yes,
you?
and Omicron Gamma, University District of Columbia. They'll be mad at me if I don't get all those right.
Throw them all in.
So, but what we found was we would combine our efforts in terms of outreach, and for our competition, you have to attend a DC public or private school. So you can be a resident in Maryland or a resident in Virginia, but you have to actually attend a school in DC for our particular program. But we're excited. We're looking forward to having a healthy competition among some of the talent that comes out.
Now, are any of the bros going to be showcasing their talent as well?
Yes, but not necessarily in a way that some may be accustomed to at some of our other functions. But we will have a couple of brothers doing, and that's why I mentioned one of a couple of guest performers.
Okay.
We're going to do a little performance. But yeah, so talent-wise, we won't necessarily be demonstrating our mastery of stepping at this particular event, but we will have many of those other things throughout the year to showcase that.
Well, it's good because it shows that the chapter is not just one-dimensional. And this year in particular, which is very important, you are celebrating 90 years of service, and that's for the chapter?
Yes, Alpha Omega chapter. We've been around and been at this for a while, and we're excited and we're fortunate, and we're very lucky to have such a diverse group of brothers that are members of the chapter, from those just leaving undergraduate ranks, joining the graduate chapter, as well as, we've got judges, we've got senior executives in the government, we've got entrepreneurs, and so we got a real diverse group of brothers that come together in this common bond.
That's so important, because when we're talking about attracting our youth, it's important to see, especially for young African-American boys, black men in different lights and in different positions with different backgrounds. So it can prove that it doesn't matter what your background is, that you can become more than just an athlete. And I'm not downing athletes, I'm not downing artists, but we have a lot of that. But we want to see them more in the medical field, more in areas of STEM. So it's good that you have all that talent in one room. Yeah,
and Ebony, that's a good point. So, and that's why we have a diverse group of outreach events and programs, so that we know that, brothers amongst ourselves have different talents and areas of interest. And so either through our Omega Academy program, where we do mentoring for young black males in particular, and actually I'll mention that if anyone's interested in having their teenage son, nephew, young man be a part of our Omega Academy program, we absolutely want them to go to our website and get more information about that. The third Saturday of each month, we spend a couple of hours with these young men. We have a guest speaker, and to your point about the diverse backgrounds, we always have a guest brother or two that talks about their particular career field, whether it's entrepreneurship, technology, medical field, health, biotechnology. I mean, we've got it all. And then we also have a chess session.
Really?
And so that's important to us because the game of chess within itself teaches a certain amount of strategy and logic. And so that's part of our mentoring program as well. So we're excited about some of those things also.
And how has that program been? What's been the response of the young men in the program?
Good. I mean, it's amazing. And amongst the brothers ourselves, we actually talk about how much we learn from them because it's really a different dynamic that they're dealing with. Whether the things you're hearing about in the news and we're seeing about whether in Ferguson and New York and across the country around law enforcement and that relationship, it's interesting to hear from them, their perspective and how they're dealing with that. And we talk about that. We have open dialogue as well. But with social media, the way that they learn and they're consuming information is different from the way a lot of us actually
grew up.
Yeah, I mean, it's very different. So how that's conveyed and sort of level setting is something that, so we enjoy it because we're learning as much from them, and it's important for us that, I mean, the minimum we could do is carve out a couple hours out of the month and spend with these young men and trying to really engage with them. And again, going back to the role models that you talked about, that, we're just not something you hear about, but we're there, we're laughing, cracking jokes, engaging with them, but at the same time, telling them our path as well. And for most of us, our path was not an easy path to achieve some of the things we were able to get to.
Go to their website, alphaomegachapter.org. Here speaking with Vernon Lee, one of the brothers of Omega Psi Phi, and they are having a talent hunt competition, their 22 chapter talent hunt competition on March the 21st. However, if you didn't make the tryout on March the 7th, you can go to the website and also get more information because they are going to have a small time where you can still enter into that talent hunt competition, but it's going to be fierce. Come bring your talents. Don't sleep on them. Some great students that have entered this competition in the past. And our very own April Watts of Magic 102.3 will also be there. So come out and support us as well. Within the organization, what are some of the creeds that Men of Omega stand on?
Well, there's 4 cardinal principles. It's manhood, scholarship, uplift, and perseverance. And through those 4 cardinal principles is what we base everything on. And when we talk about the mentoring, whether we talk about reaching back, all of those 4 cardinal principles really epitomize what we're about and what we focus on. So every day you wake up, if you're Omega man, if you're a Q, if you're a bro, whatever, those 4 cardinal principles is what we wake up thinking about when we lay our head down at night. No matter whatever happened during the day, those 4 cardinal principles are what guide us and are really our light as we march through our path in life.
Now, you've been fairly successful in your own life and in your own career. And conversations we've had before, you have an extensive background when it comes to technology. And as we were talking before, we really want to see more African-American men enter into that field. I really want you to talk about how important that is. We've been trying to get that message out a lot to our young people.
Yeah, we're in a world now, as I mentioned, and we've talked about with social media and technology. And it's interesting to me when I have an opportunity to talk about what I do just in terms of investing in companies that are in the technology field, in particular mobile gaming, for example, software companies, cybersecurity related companies that all have an opportunity to really scale in a big way. That when I'm talking to some of our young brothers and men out there about every single day, that phone, that device that's in their hand, there's software that drives that, There's some telecommunications aspect of it. And so investing in entering that career field is, hey, if this is an area you're passionate about because you're on Instagram or Snapchat or Facebook or you're tweeting, all of those companies started with a couple of entrepreneurs, a couple of founders with a vision and an idea. And we could be a part of that. There's really a significant movement that's taken place probably in the last year or two, and particularly in the last year with a number of announcements around inclusion and diversity within technology. I mean, there's the National Venture Capital Association announced a diversity task force. Intel announced that they're investing $300 million to diversify their workforce. The Harvard Business School did a study a couple of years ago, had a huge conference about U.S. job competitiveness globally. And one of the things that they found was that companies that are going to produce job growth in the future are going to be women and minority-owned companies. And so as African-American men, we've got to do the basics, though. And it's not even magical or mystical. It's you got to do your basic work in school. I mean, this is not something that is something that's, so far reaching it can't be obtained. It's you have to start in the basics in school, and you got to stay focused in terms of a path of entrepreneurship and getting into technology. And you may want to go work for Facebook or Twitter or Snapchat. These are all very doable things. And I'm involved with a couple of organizations and initiatives that's involved with that in terms of increasing access to capital, to coaching and mentoring. So if there are any young men out there that have, any type of a dream or maybe hearing this or a friend or a family, there's different outlets that they can do that, and they can get in contact with me as well. But yeah, I mean, if you want to work for Twitter, they got a huge office in New York.
Right.
If you want to, go up, stay on the East Coast, obviously they got a huge presence in San Francisco on the West Coast. If you want to work for Facebook, these are all attainable and things that can be reached. So not just being a user of some of those products, why not go work for them?
Absolutely. We are some of the largest consumers. And so, I mean, I'd love to kind of springboard from that. You talk about San Francisco and New York. D.C. is also trying to become a technology hub. We have a lot of businesses that are moving some of their headquarters here, or startups especially.
Yeah, D.C. is, and thanks, Ebony, for mentioning that. And not to give, I want to make sure D.C.'s got a lot of love, but 1776 is one of the premier entrepreneurship training grounds, which opened up a couple of years ago and has gained global recognition. DC Innovates is a huge outreach that provides opportunity for grants for entrepreneurs. The other thing I'm really excited about, and recently talking to a number of influencers in the DC area, is the old St. Elizabeth's campus.
The Rise Center is
amazing.
Centers.
Oh my goodness, I was there a couple of months ago when Keith Clinkscale was speaking, but in one class, they were doing coding sessions, and there were teenagers in one, and there were senior citizens in another one learning how to code, writing code to create their own apps or whatever they wanted to do. So I'm really, really encouraged about that. And I think Microsoft has made some commitments over there as well. But that is going to be huge, huge.
The one thing you kept saying throughout the interview, and I love it because it also weaves itself in what the Men of Omega do, is that this is doable. I think a lot of young people don't see the connection. When you think coding, when you think technology, it seems to like, oh, how do I learn? The faces that we've seen connected to that are innovators in this industry, a lot of times we don't see our own people, but there are a lot of us that are in this industry. We need definitely a whole lot more, but it's important for the mentoring programs and for the outreach that you do to let young people know that this is doable.
Absolutely. And those stories can't be amplified enough and told over and over again. Like John Thompson, who's African-American brother, is the chairman of Microsoft. I mean, one of the largest companies in the world. And you got David Drummond, who was there when Google first started. It's a guy out of San Francisco by the name of Michael Siebel that no one's ever heard. That started a company called Justin.tv. They were acquired for like $1 billion a couple of years ago. And I could go on and on and on. That there are enough to make it real and touchable. And I think a number of African-American men amongst ourselves, we have this conversation all the time. What can we do to balance between our families and continue to execute for our investors or for our shareholders or our customers, but also reaching back and a lot of the brothers that I have an opportunity to engage with, we're all passionate about it. I mean, there's no one just sort of, hey, I got mine, I'm going to keep moving. And so I'm really, really encouraged about that. And so being able to make that connection, again, if a parent or a friend or someone has, here's an interview or talking to you when you're doing other outreach programs, if I can help in any way and help facilitate that and introductions, I mentioned Omega Psi, our fraternity has mentoring, but all the fraternities are actually really reaching out because I have friends, and some of the others as well that are trying to do that, as well as some of the other programs. But in particular in the D.C. area, that D.C. Rise and some
amazing.
of the D.C. initiatives, I'm really, really encouraged. The D.C. Chamber of Commerce, Harry Wingo, a friend of mine, is doing a lot as well, and I like what Harry's energy. But yes, it is real. We're here. We're whether we're in your neighborhood, we're walking down the street, or in your grocery store, or somewhere nearby, or the Nike store, because we like J's too. So
well, let's be some of the creative minds behind the new ones that come out.
That's right.
That's funny. I always got to keep it real on the show. Vernon, thank you, so much. This has been really good. I want to encourage everybody who's been listening today, come out to the talent hunt competition. I'm excited about it. Number one, I love to see when our young people showcase their talent. I really do.
Yeah, we're excited, and again, it's amazing how many years when you look up that we've been able to do this. And again, we appreciate all the support from the community and the parents that have to take these kids to rehearsals and practices and making those payments, and but particularly Radio One and yourself, and giving us a platform to be able to share this. And April's been wonderful with her social media and also been an advocate. So we're excited about everything that's happening this year for our program.
March 21st is the event.
That's a Saturday at 3 p.m. The Community Academy Public Charter Schools, or CAPS for short. The address is 1400 First Street, right next to Dunbar. So right there in Northwest D.C. So come on out for that.
Go to alphaomegachapter.org to get more information. If you missed the first set of competitions, there's something they're trying to do for those who come a little late. And I can't wait to see those who enter. We'll be out there with our very own April Watts. Thank you so much, Vernon, for coming in, talking about the organization, your scope and outlook on our young people today, and also talking about this talent competition. Is there anything you want to leave with our audience?
Again, thanks for everyone for coming out. And please, in addition to our talent hunt, if you're interested in other events and programs, I want to reemphasize the youth mentoring program that we have as well. But we've got stuff going on. We've got golf tournaments. I mean, it's a year-round
it's a year-round party.
Oh, yeah.
No, not party.
Well, there are fundraisers to help support our scholarship program.
We love a good Men of Omega fundraiser, don't we?
No, we give $10,000 to $15,000 in scholarships.
Wow.
Every May as well to young African American men. So so we've got something probably every month going on
for everybody,
in the community and very focused. So Thanks again for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on to the show. To our audience, thank you for tuning in to this edition of our Community Affairs show here, Radio 1 DC Stations. I've enjoyed being your host this morning, and until next week, be blessed.